Anything can happen in the next half hour.
Thunderbird 2, FAB.
Look, the lady. Look.
What a magnificent sight.
Mobile control from Thunderbird 2. I'm returning to base. Zero X is entering rarefied atmosphere and she's doing fine. In a few minutes, it'll be over to Alice.
Okay, Thunderbird 2.
It's brilliant, isn't it? Now, if you were watching that and you remember it first time around, it says a lot about you because you must be at least 30. It's now a staggering 28 years since Fireball XL5 first appeared on our screens. So it really is a great honour to have the creator of that series and, of course, Stingray and Thunderbirds, Gerry Anderson. Now, in many respects, you really were breaking new ground when you made those films. Were they difficult to make?
Well, they were extremely difficult to make. As a matter of fact, at the time, I really didn't want to make them. I just sort of fell into this thing. But if you can imagine these marionettes with probably, as far as I can remember, about 12 very fine wires being operated by people on an overhead bridge. So the slightest movement meant that they would sway and fall over. It really was pretty grim. And also, of course, all those wires had to be painted out one by one. So yes, it was very difficult.
I mean, I was brought up on all of the series. I mean, I started actually with Four Feather Falls, we were talking about. And so I was starting with Rusty, and I remember all the names.
Your age away.
I tell you, one of the things that fascinated me was how the characters changed. Eventually, the faces got better and more lifelike. How difficult was it to make those characters?
Well, you see, most of these things were all a great big accident. When I first made these shows, the puppets had no mouth movement. And so consequently, if you wanted to know which one was speaking, you had to nod their head up and down, which was awful. So then we created an automatic mouth movement. And in order to get the gubbins in the head, we had to make the heads very large. And people thought that they were intentionally caricatured, but it was really not as clever as that at all.
And how long did it take to shoot? I mean, how many minutes could you expect to get done in a day?
Well, Thunderbirds was shot 2 weeks per episode. That's 1 hour. But there were 2 units on the puppets and 2 special effects units. So really there were 4 complete film units working for 2 weeks.
So how many people would that involve?
At the height of these programs, the production team was about 250.
I mean, one of the things that we're here today talking about them, I mean, the whole studio today was watching that when it went through, first of all. Not only were they enjoying the film, but they were singing the songs as well.
Yes.
Marina, State, anything can happen in the next half hour.
Yes.
I mean, you have created an amazing cult, really, in a sense, with this. And I know that there is an organisation today and a fan club generally. I mean, has that really surprised you, how it's stood the test of time?
Well, the fan club now, of course, has been running for about 11 years. And when I first heard about it, I really didn't want to have anything to do with it because I thought that they were just cranks. And my present wife, Mary, one day said, look, you really ought to go along because they obviously take a tremendous amount of trouble putting these conventions on. And if, for whatever reason, if it gives them pleasure for you to go there, you really ought to go. And so I went. And I have to tell you, like most of us in show business, I've had bad times as well as good times. And in the bad times, these people really helped me and, in fact, became very good friends.
And it grows as well, day by day. More people are joining here today, I can tell you.
Oh, really? Glad to hear that.
Well, of course, a fan club is one thing. I mean, a feature of that series was International Rescue. And now there is a real organisation called International Rescue.
Yes. We have 70 fully trained operatives. We're very, very well equipped with thermal imaging cameras and glass fibre optics that we can peer through wreckage and sound equipment where we can detect people breathing under the wreckage. And these teams are flown out by courtesy of British Airways to any part of the world, and they've now been on quite a few missions. Recently we had a satellite communicator, and this was brought into use in Hurricane Hugo, where one of the islands had been totally cut off, and in fact we went out there and relieved a British warship, which at the time was the only means of communication they had with the outside world.
Just going back to the special effects side of things, I mean, you were breaking new ground there, as Maggie was saying. Have we got a real name for special effects in this country? Have we lost out to a certain extent by perhaps not pursuing some of the things that you were doing in those days?
Well, we have got a very real name, and we have a very, very good special effects team in this country. But like so many innovations in this country, I don't know why, we just throw them away. And sadly, as we all know, you know, the big special effects pictures are now American. A lot of them come over here for the expertise, a good 50% of which started in my studio. But it's always been a matter of regret that we British didn't make those pictures ourselves.
So we're just sort of feeding all the expertise across the water there.
Well, I don't know, we seem to have a habit of doing this, you know, whether it's Concorde or the Harrier or whatever.
We've got, you are doing something new anyway. I mean, things don't stand still. Let's see a clip now from a thing called Project 90, which you can explain to us in a moment. Let's just see a clip of it, though, first of all.
Okay.
Calling international rescue.
5.
Calling international rescue.
3.
Calling international rescue.
1. Thunderbird are go.
Under pressure, and you don't know what to do. A secret organization will come and rescue you.
FAB.
Okay, so when do we get started? Relax, will you? We can't do anything till Lady Penelope gets here.
Sounding Amber Alert. 19 minutes to lift off. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thunderbirds are go.
Fantastic.
So tell us a bit about Project 90.
Well, Project 90 is a new dance record which basically features re-recorded Thunderbird music. And briefly, I was approached by 2 young businessmen who said that they were fans and they wanted to finance a record. My first reaction was, you know, another Thunderbird record, how many more? It's just going to be another title and another sleeve. But when they said they wanted to do a modern version, then I became really interested. And I didn't design this, but they came up with this new version of Thunderbird 2, which is on the sleeve. And kind of, together with the video you've seen, I'm hoping that it says, yeah, you know, the past, Thunderbirds, but it's 1990 and I'm moving with the times. And the material you've seen on the video is stuff that I shot quite recently. It's all very up to date, never been seen on the screen before. And I'm hoping that the record and that material will form part of my work for the beginning of the 90s.
Well, most people who'll be buying that record, I suspect, will be, as
so.
Maggie said, over 30. So thanks for being with us today. It's been a great pleasure to meet you.
My pleasure.
And very good luck to you too.
Yes, thank you.
Anyway, after the break, John Hurt and Richard Harris on the set of their new movie. It's called The Field.